So I'm waiting. Okay, so you're all welcome back. Tonight, we shall continue from where we stopped. So, but before we go on, I just want to quickly read out what we've been able to cover all along. If you can see my screen, kindly indicate you can see my screen. We've not started anything yet. I just want to use the opportunity to share with us what we've covered so far and what we are yet to look at. Okay, so those things we are yet to look at, we're going to look at them in this class. Okay, so while we are at it, let me just quickly check what we have done so far. So in this training, we've looked at bank reconciliation, which was one of the things that we promised us. We've looked at bank reconciliation. We've looked at IFRS-based financial statements using Microsoft Excel. We've looked at that as well. We've looked at what else have we looked at? Can you remind me of what we've done so far? Are we checking our? Do we have our course outline or what we ought to do in this training? How many of us have it handy that we know that okay, these are the things we are expecting? Do you have expectations for the training? Anybody on the call? Okay, so basically,
yes.
Yeah, so if you have something you want to say, you can go on and say it, sir. I'm waiting.
Okay, no, we have our expectations. You free call of, but then after the mentioning what you.
Okay, so I don't know if it's my network or maybe it's your network, but I feel there's a breakage somewhere. I don't know if it's from you or if it's from me. But let me ask others, can you hear me clearly? Hope it's not from my end. If you can
I'm
hear me
hearing
clearly.
you clearly now, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I guess it's from his end. If you can hear me, you can repeat what you said if you can hear me. But your network was very bad initially, so I couldn't hear you. So let me just read out our course content. If you go to the profile picture that we use for our group, you will see what our course content is. So out of that course content, we've done the judgment of debit and credit. I believe that majority of us that were in that lecture, we already understand what needs to be debited, what needs to be credited. So from that, we also created the trial balance. And then from that trial balance, we also linked it to both the manufacturing accounts, where we have a manufacturing account, trading account, and so on and so forth. So it might interest you that that template that I designed for us for the manufacturing account was what I used for one of my clients, which is into plastic and glass production. So, and that template is actually doing a wonderful job. Though the client, they normally have accounting software that they use to capture, but due to the nature of that business, right? So they still needed to still separate the business. Okay, let's know what revenue came in for glass, what are the expenditures that we incurred for that line of business, then also what revenue came in for PVC. PVC has to do with pipe, when you're doing your breakable plates, cups, pipes that they use in the house and all those stuff. So I had to design that template. One of the reasons why I designed it was because of that company, basically, and it's actually doing a fantastic job for the company. So now, that is that. So we're able to look at the journal of debit and credit. We're also able to look at the trial balance, and also we also linked it to the account. Then the last time we also met, we also looked at IFRS-based financial statement. Okay, using Microsoft Excel. I showed us an account that is interconnected, right? Interlinked. Once you're able to analyze your trial balance very well, you link it to the extended trial balance, and all that, and everything fits in into the other account that is there. So one of the things that I will employ us to do is try and get yourself familiar with those accounts. What are the things that what make up the expenses of a company? What makes up the chart of the cost of sales? What are the revenue streams of each of those company? So if you familiarize yourself with it, it's very easy. Just so that when you're looking at your profit and loss account, you're only looking at inflows versus outflows, income versus expenditure. That's all that is in that profit and loss account. Then when you go to your balance sheet, then you start talking about assets, liabilities, and equity. So that's what you're going to see in your balance sheet. Then when you talk about statement of cash flows, majority of us that people that are in our tuition house, we've done statement of cash flows severally. Probably one of the things I'm going to do as part of this training, probably I will also take time to take us how to do statement of cash flows. Majority of people don't actually know how to do it in practice, but there is no difference between what you do in theory and what you actually do in practice. So, but I'll try and create a template for that so that we also know that, okay, once you are doing your account, apart from you doing your profit and loss account, apart from you doing your balance sheet, you also know that, okay, one of the statements that is required is a statement of cash flows. Then we talk about value-added statement. Then we'll talk about other statement as well. So that is that. Then apart from that, we were also supposed to look at some basic tax computations, and we also needed to file simple returns on e-tax portal and tax promos. So we've not actually done majority of these, but if you are conversant with the new tax law, I think there's a lecture I did that I posted on our YouTube channel. If you go to that lecture, you will see that in that lecture, I already told us how to actually do the payee. Okay, so that payee, that basic tax computation, that is like the most. Once you are able to do your payee, then to pay VAT is very easy. Okay, so when you're trying to do VAT, just make sure that, because most times in business or in practice, the government expects you to be an agent. Once you have your team, you're expected to be an agent for the government. So it's expected that once you are selling, you are to also help government collect their money from customers. So what it means is that if I'm doing this training and I propose in my heart that I'm going to take us this training per person for 30,000, right? So what I will do is that 30,000 is my 100%. That is what I need to come to me. So I need to calculate an extra 7.5%, which I'm going to collect on behalf of the government, okay? Which once I collect it, it means that when I'm charging us, I'm not supposed to charge us 30,000. I'm actually supposed to charge us 30,000 plus the VAT that ought to be on it, okay? So, but if you are now paying VAT to government, this is what you do. After you've collected those money from your customer, you need to now do some schedules, right? Where you're showing each of the customers that transacted with you, what is their TIN number, and all those stuff. Then you also say, okay, how much did they actually pay? But you must note that you are only supposed to show the tax exclusive amount. What does it mean? Just show your own 100%. How much is the money that belongs to only you? Don't show that of the government, right? Don't show that of the government. Only show the money that belongs to only you. That is what you need to show. Then once you have shown that, then you're going to put it in a template, because when you go on tax format, you will discover that there is a template that has been designed for VAT. Once you download that template, you quickly populate it. You put in the TIN number, put in the amount they paid. So that amount they are going to put is actually the 100% that belongs to you, not 107.5%. No, it's only 100% you're going to put there. So once you finish populating that thing on its own, when you will upload it back on tax promise, on its own, tax performance will compute what the 7.5% should be. And that 7.5% is what is going to show as your liability, which it will also enable you to be able to check it if it actually tallies with what you actually received from customers. So that is that. We are going to look at that. I believe that we have not done that. That's one of the things that we need to look at. So I can say that basically that basic tax computation and filing of simple returns on e-tax, portal, and tax format is still outstanding. We will still touch on it. Then the next one I also talked about is how to perform some basic bank reconciliation, right? Bank reconciliation, how to do it effectively. So if you have checked the videos that I uploaded on YouTube, you would have seen that we've done it in the class together. If you're still having any challenge with it, you can always reach out, okay? I will put you through. Now, one thing that we've not done, we've done it for normal way, how it should be done with your bank statement and also your cash book, but we've not done it for the software. So it means that we can also do bank reconciliation directly in our software. So don't forget that your software is actually your cash book, right? Your software is your cash book. So what you need to do is that we now reconcile that your software, you are reconciling it to the bank. I'm still also we are reconciling to the bank statement. So I'm going to give us a training on that. So if you remind me, I'm going to do that together. So bank reconciliation for softwares. You have to remind me of that. The other thing that I also promised us in the training is how to use Excel for accounting tax. We've been using Excel, right? We've been meeting, we've been using Excel. Then another specific things I also listed out is pivot tables, lookups, and VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, whatever lookup, the macros, right? So those things, this Excel stuff, we might still need to rebrush it so that people that were not paying attention when we're having it, they can always go back to it and be able to understand it more. So like macros, like VLOOKUP, like HLOOKUP, like pivot tables, we might just create a class for that. Then the last one is our accounting software. So for our accounting software, over here, we have QuickBooks, we have Zoho Books, we have Sage and all that. So you see that probably from tomorrow, we will now learn, we will download. So I told us that there is going to be a bonus for people that actually participate in the lecture. So I'm going to show us how to get any accounting software that we actually need. And we're going to download one for us. So we are going to download QuickBooks, the latest version. We're going to download QuickBooks, the latest version. And that thing that we're going to do is that we're going to get, it's going to be, we don't need to subscribe for it because the one we're going to get is going to be subscription free. Okay, so we're also going to download Sage and all that. For Zoho Books, there's no app for Zoho Book currently. It's all online. Okay, so I know that I've been teaching us Zoho Books and it has been online. So that is that. So basically, we are done with the first two. That is judgment of debit and credit, IFRS-based financial statement using Microsoft Excel. We are done with bank reconciliation to a level. We still need to do bank reconciliation with our software. Then we still need to touch on our accounting, our Excel. They need to pivot table, lookups, macros. We also still need to work on our basic tax computation, VAT, payee, and so on and so forth. The last time I also showed us how to do annual returns, right? So I believe that majority of us should have done our annual returns by now. Then we are also going to now look at accounting software, other accounting software that we've not touched. We're going to look at that. So that is basically that. Does anybody have anything to say, any contribution, any addition, any subtraction before we go on for today?
Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's not something for which I will hold you accountable anyway. But tomorrow I will be unavoidably absent from the class.
Okay.
So because you are talking of that freebies you intend to give to us.
Okay, so we might move it to another time because I want everybody to be in attendance. So no problem, sir.
All right, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any other thing? No, I believe not. So the ladies among us,
If yeah,
Madam,
yes, hello, sir.
I can hear you, I can hear you. I can hear
Yeah,
you,
all
sir.
right, thank you. So, uh, I understand that you want to carry everybody along, and I appreciate that. I think it might be kind of not 100% visible, though we are not so many to get everybody on board at the same time. Maybe the day we will the day we give the free P, maybe you pre-inform us so that we all try to see how we can adjust our schedule to be present so that we don't also miss it. Because tomorrow I may be available and the date will be now, I might not be available.
Okay,
Please
I get
just
it there.
kind consideration.
Okay, so what I will do is that the day we are going to do it, I will start informing us from Monday that week so that on Saturday we are all we all know that there is no excuse, right? That we've been pre-informed about it.
Okay.
So
Okay, sir.
yes, yeah. So that is that. Thank you everybody for your input. All right. So basically, let's just quickly go and look at some things today. So part of the things I said we've not done our tax, VAT, and e-tax, and so on and so forth. We've not done that. Then we've not done bank reconciliation for our accounting software. Then we might touch on Excel a little so that we can get to know pivot tables. We've done it before, lookups, function, and macros. Then lastly, we will now look at accounting software. So today, because we've done Zoho Books before, let's just go to Zoho Books. Let me show us something different, right? So most of the time, is there anybody here that does not know how to use Zoho Books? Is there anybody that have not seen the lectures on Zoho Books on our YouTube page? Is there anybody on this call? Anybody on this call? Okay, so Madam Miracle, you don't know how to? Omit your mic, please.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I've not seen the class on that.
All right, no problem. So I will share it with us. We have Zoho Books lectures on YouTube. So let me quickly go to our Zoho Books. Let's check out for something. So now, most people in that last training that we had, I showed them certain things on Zoho Books, right? But Zoho Books is more than that. So let's quickly check out certain things that we need to know. Let's look at the features of Zoho Books first before we go on to do other things. So on Zoho Books, you can actually do quotes, you can do invoicing, you can do sales order, you can pay bills, you can do purchase order. So that means that if you go on your Zoho Books and you don't see how to do your purchase order, you don't see how to pay bills, okay, you don't know how to place your sales order, okay, you just know that probably the version you are using, you are not giving those functionalities because on Zoho Books, all the things that these are the things that you can do. So until you're able to do sales order, purchase order, you might not really be working on your inventory. So on Zoho Books, you also do inventory on Zoho Books. Okay, you keep tab of your inventory, your banking, your project, your expenses, your documents, reporting, online payment, and so on and so forth. So these are the things that you can do. And Zobook is actually complete. Once you're able to do all these things that they listed out here, then there is no limit to what you can achieve with Zoho. Okay, so that being said, we also know that this is Zoho Books. Apart from Zoho Books, there is also something that I will also show us. So Zoho Books have a sister application. So when you want to do your inventory, you might not really be able to do your inventory directly from Zoho Books. So let's go and open our Zoho Books. So what you can do is that you can actually sign in or you can sign up, okay? So people that don't have any account, they can easily sign up. But if you have an account already, you should just go on and sign in. So over here, you see that here you have inventory. So let me click on this inventory and let's see what happens. So let's click on inventory. Okay, so it's loading. So I told us that Zoho Books it has a sister app. It has an inventory app. So that inventory, majority of the things that you can do on Zoho Books, you can even do far more than that on your inventory, on your Zoho inventory. So this is Zoho inventory already. So this, your Zoho inventory also, it has its own features. So these are the things that you can do on your Zoho inventory. You can do your purchasing. So under your purchasing, you can do your purchase order. You can do purchase receipts, vendor payment, and so on and so forth. So at the point where you are paying bills, you are actually paying your vendor, okay? And at the point where you raise your purchase order, right? When you raise your purchase order, for instance, you don't have those goods in your store, right? So you now raise a purchase order to order it from the vendor. So when the vendor attends to you and you receive that goods in your warehouse, that is when your physical store or your physical stock will increase. Then at the point when you are paying your vendor, okay, that is when your accounting stock will now increase. So that it means that we have physical stock, we also have accounting stock based on inventory management, right? Apart from that, we also have what we call warehousing, okay? For your warehousing, you can keep multiple warehouses, you can do transfer orders, okay? You can do transfer orders, pick lists, bin location, and so on and so forth. When you're doing your transfer order, you're transferring from one warehouse to another warehouse, okay? So that's what you're doing under your transfer order. Then the inventory itself. So how do you now do your inventory? So you discover that for your inventory, okay, inventories are things, you know, we have like, we have, for instance, in the manufacturing industry, we have what we call raw material, we have what we call work in progress, we have what we call finished goods. So for a manufacturing company, you discover that you are likely to have your raw material. You're also likely to have your finished goods. Okay, so you are likely to have two types of finished goods. The first one is the one that you manufacture in-house. The other one is the one that you manufacture. Sorry, yes, you manufacture in-house. The other one is the one that you purchase from outside. So under inventory, you can see that the one that you actually manufacture in-house is done through item groups and composite items. So that's how you always get that done. So, and that is that. So we also have price list, inventory adjustment, barcode generation, scanning, etc. Then order management, set order management, multi-channel selling, invoicing, sales returns, and so on. So all these things are the things that you can actually do on your Zoho Books. So on your Zoho inventory, sorry. So it has a lot of functionality, even more than your Zoho Books. So most times, and this one also has its own pricing list. If you go on Zoho Book, you see the pricing of Zoho Book, while Zoho Inventory as well has its own price list. So let me click on it. Let me see if I can see the pricing for Zoho Inventory so that we can check it together. So that when you are trying to make up your mind on what to do, I will advise you that instead of you subscribing to Zoho Books, rather subscribe to Zoho Inventory, because Zoho Inventory gives you more functionality. So here is it. So for standard, it is $25. It permits 500 orders per month, 2 users, 2 locations. So that is if you want to keep warehouses, okay? So it allows for 2 warehouse, right? So that is that. Then if you are looking at 4 warehouse, 2 users, 3,000 orders per month. So this is when you look at professional. When you look at premium, premium is you're going to have 6 locations, 2 users as well, and 7,500 orders per month. So 2,000 BIM plus / location. So because most times people can have, they can want to keep different warehouses, right? So that's why warehouse is actually the thing that they are going to, sorry, location. Location also represents your warehouse. So that is what they are actually keeping, like that's what they are looking at. They keep increasing it based on what you paid for, and then based on what your company requires, you can always pick whatever suits you. Okay, whatever you want to go for. So I can tell you that instead of you subscribing for Zoho Books, I can tell you categorically that go for Zoho Inventory. It gives you wider room to achieve everything you want to achieve. Okay, so that is for that. So for this one as well, you can also sign in. You can also sign up. So let's try and see if we can sign in. I can't remember if I've created an account for this Zoho Inventory, but let's try and sign in. Let's see. Are we together?
Yes, sir, we are together, sir.
Okay. So let's try and see if I can sign in. Let me see if there's any accounts that I've used for it before that is still active. Okay. So, and I also remember that based on the last lecture that we've had, I've also given us a kind of workflow for Zoho Inventory app. So for Zoho Inventory app, it is connected to your Zoho Books. Anything you do on your Zoho Books, once it's the same email that you use to create your Zoho Books and your Zoho Inventory, the same company you're using, the same email, automatically they are synced together. So anything you have on your Zoho Books app will automatically reflect in your Zoho Inventory. Then Zoho Inventory gives a wider room for you to do a lot of things. On your Zoho Books, you might not be able to do purchase order, you might not be able to do sales order, you might not be able to do transfer order, you might not be able to do what else was I talking about? Composite item and all those stuff. So let's assume that I want to use this account. So let me click on next. And okay, let me sign in. Okay, is incorrect. Okay, let me do something. So let's see if it's going to work. So once you already have an account with Zoho Books, with that same email address, you can log in to Zoho Inventory. So is that friendly? Okay. So that's why I say that rather than subscribing to your Zoho Books, I would rather prefer you subscribe to your Zoho Inventory. Okay, because it's the same login that you are going to use for both of them. Okay, so let's see what happens. It's opening. Let's see what happens. The network seems somehow slow because it's not supposed to take a lot of time like this. Okay, so I think secure your, okay, so, all right, update password. What is it asking me to do? Scan QR to begin setup. Okay, So just give me 2 minutes. I think authenticator app, it's telling me to authenticate or something. Or let me see. Okay, so I'm signed in already, but I need to authenticate it. Secure your whatever. Okay, skip. Yeah, let me skip it. Skip. Don't show again. Okay, fine. Okay. So as I told us, I just finalized the training for an oil and gas company. So their major challenge was actually this inventory management, as well as fixed assets. So that is the training I did for them. And at the end of the day, they were so glad because things that were not so clear to them, they all um, knew or started knowing about that. So, and one good thing about it is that that company, they have a lot of or gas. So even on the call, I had like almost four four of their top management staff were there. Some of them were FCAs, they were all on the call and all that. And then, if in that kind of situation, if you don't really know what you are training or what you are teaching them, they will just, you just fall your hand. So that was just it. So we must know that there are more to what we know. Zobook is not just any software that is not standard, it's a standard software. So, but if you have not been able to access those functionality from just the Zobook app, just know that it's not because they are not available. It's just because you don't know how to access it. So that is why I'm trying to show us the Zoho inventory today, though it's very slow. I don't know why the network is slow. But let's just exercise some patience so that I can show us all those things I said we need to see, like how to create your purchase order, how to create your sales order, so once you create your purchase order, you need to receive it. Once you receive it, so once you create your purchase order, right, and then you finalize with it, that means that the purchase order has gotten to your vendor. Then once your vendor respond by sending the package to you, you receive it. Once you receive it, goods will automatically be in your physical warehouse. But if you don't pay the bill, if you don't settle the bill, that good will not have accounting stock. So you have to do both of them in order for you to be able to have that. Okay, so why this is wasting time, let me just quickly show us something else. So now I told us that there's a place you can get most of these software that we are going to use. There's a place you can download them for free, right? So when you just go to a new tab like this, so that before we even meet, I want majority of us to be looking at the possibility. So just go to get. So just go to getintopc.com. So getintopc.com. Once you go to getintopc.com, then click on OK and let it load. While it's loading, let me come back to this side. Okay, so here we go. Okay, join your existing organization. Join organization. So this is my organization, AJ Accounting Services. So let me just click on it. So why is still loading? So yes, when you get to getintopc.com, right? So you come to this right hand side corner of your screen, you will see where it says search the website, right? So you can search for anything. So let's say you want to search for Sage. You can just click on Sage, search for it, and then, so for Sage, this is what you have. You have Peachtree 2010 free download. So you can download it and all that. So just click on, so just click like this. Once you click like this, then it will show you how to download it. So here, everything you want to download there, there's also how to install it. So you're going to see a short video. This is how to install this software. Okay, then this is where you download it. So you further check how to install it. Let's further click on how to install it. So when you click on how to install it, then you download a video guide, or you can also watch this this tutorial, right? So this tutorial will tell you what needs to be done when you're trying to when you're trying to download and when you're trying to install the software. Okay, so this is going to tell you. So let me see. Unblock websites like games, app with for high speed VPN. Okay. Right. So yeah. So it's actually playing now. So this is going to guide you on how to download the stuff. So now, but the thing is that they might not really verbally explain to you what they are doing, okay, but they will just show you the video of it, of what they are doing, and then you need to like follow suit with it. So are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is here. So let me just click on get started. Okay, so why is it still loading? Let me go back to this one again. So when you just go to getintopc.com, right? When you go to getintopc.com, so let me go back to the beginning. Getintopc.com. So this is the landing page. So let me type it again. So get into pc.com. So once you do that, just click on enter. Then this is the landing page. So over here, you can search for anything you want to search for. So we search for Sage. Let's search for QuickBooks. Okay. Sorry. QuickBooks. Then we come here. Okay, let me search here first. Go. So you can see QuickBook 2021 free download, premium 2021 UK whatever 2021. I think the one I want to show us is not 2021. Let me just go to the next page. Okay, QuickBook Enterprise Accountant free download UK now 2016. Yes, so I think this is what I want to show us. That is 2024. So this is what I want us to download, which is 2024, which is like the latest version. So this is what we're going to download: Institute QuickBook Enterprise Solution 2024. So this is what we're going to download. So so you can go on to. So let me go to the next page. So we have 2023, we have 2020, we have 2016, but the one I want us to download is actually that one that is 2024. So come to 20, so you're going to see, where is it? Well, yeah, so this is it. So Institute QuickBooks Enterprise Solution 2024 free download. So once you click on it, then you come to this interface. From this interface, you're going to see where it's going to tell you how to install this software. You can decide to click on it, check how they install theirs. Then you can also click here to download the setup and everything. So when you click here to download the setup, then when we meet, I'll tell us how to now go about it. So even without me telling you how to go about it, from this website on its own, you can see instruction on how to download everything and how to set up everything on your own. Just need to do is follow this instruction, click on it. Then from there, you are going to see a YouTube video that will tell you what to do. You can also download the video guide, right? So let's say we want to download the video guide. So I don't have much data, but we'll do that probably when the time comes. I'm just showing us this one now to prepare our mind so that we can also go here on our own and try and see what we can do. So it's getintopc.com. Getintopc.com. So it's going to be together and all those stuff. Yeah, so that is that. All right, so this is our Zoho inventory. So we are back at our Zoho inventory. Okay, so what I want to do is, the first thing I want to do is, we want to check for our items. So this is our items, right? Now, because we are using the free version, so there's a limit to what we can actually do. So the item that we're having here is just like the way it will show on our, what's it called, on our Zoho books. So it means that this stuff expect us to subscribe before we can access a lot of functionalities. So under this, our item is limiting us to what we already know. So let's assume that I want to add an item. Let me see whether it's going to give us those. Yeah, so let me check down. Let me go to the bottom. Okay, purchase information. Okay, so add inventory for this item. Then inventory account, that's going to be inventory valuation method. Is it FIFO or whatever? Then we other point and all those stuff. So let's see inventory type. So that is inventory accounts. Okay, so that's that stock and all those. Okay, let me also see. Okay, so as I was saying, this is not giving us the access to actually. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you also want to make sure that your location has been set and every other thing. So let's check under inventory. So under inventory, we have inventory adjustment can be done, fine. Packages can be done. Let me check under packages. Okay, packages can be done. Okay, then we have shipment. Yeah, shipment is here. So this is where we can do our drop shipping, and so on and so forth. Then move order, putaways. But I can't see where to do our, let me come over to our purchases. Can we do, okay, we can do a purchase order. Okay, fine. We can do a purchase order. We can receive, purchase receive. We can do bill, that is fine. Payment mode, vendor credit, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's fine. Then let's look at sales. Under our sales, we can do a sales order. We can do all these things. Okay, sales returns. Wow, sales returns is even here. So that means that we can actually work with this. So this makes sense. So let's use this to learn tonight. So as I was saying, are we together? Let me be sure that you can hear me clearly.
With you, sir.
Okay, so fine. So now before we just go straight to create our invoice. That's what we normally do before, right? But now another method is going to be adopted, right? So when you want to create an invoice, don't just go straight to the invoice to create it. No, start from your sales order. So normally, I know that majority of us, we already know how to create a customer. Customer is not something that is difficult. We can create any customer, as many customers as we would like. You can come to this new. When you come to the new, right? From this new, you can always add. Okay, so from this new, you can decide, are you creating a business as a customer or is it an individual? So put either individual, put their primary contact. Do you have a salutation? What is the first name? What is the last name? And all that. Then you can now go over to say, okay, how do you want, what is the company name that this person has? You can put it there. You can also, display name is mandatory. So the display name, you must put display name here, otherwise it will not allow you to save this customer. So you put a phone number, email address if you like. Then what is the customer language? Is it a Nigerian? Does it speak English? You select English, or if it speaks all these other languages that we don't know, you can also select the language that he speaks, right? Then we also talk about the tax rate. Is this customer, does he pay tax? Do you need to collect tax from him on behalf of the government? You can decide to select the tax. So if you have not created any tax before, any tax will not appear here. But because you are, because you have created, we have created VAT before. That's why we have VAT appearing here. Then the company ID is not important. The currency type. So the company. So is this customer? Is it going to be a Naira customer, or is it in Canada? Then we need to select euros. You need to select Great Britain pounds for this guy. Then you want to invoice this guy in different currency. So you can always check the different currency that each of your customers are going to be invoiced in. So now your Zoho Books now has a way of converting whatever you've invoiced in that currency. It has a way of converting the Naira equivalent, okay? So you see that, okay, this thing, for instance, your item will not be allowed to create item in other currency. You, as a company, you must have selected the currency that your company operates. So which for us is Naira, okay? So when you want to create your items are already in Naira. You've created your items in Naira, right? So you've created your items in Naira. So once you have created your item in Naira, you cannot go back and edit it. Your currency has been selected. You are in Nigeria, is Naira. So when you want to now create a customer, you have liberty to, even though you have Naira as your currency, you have liberty to invoice any customer in any currency. So when you come to your sales, under sales, you have customer, click on your customer, then you create the customer. Let's say we want to create a new customer. Let's quickly create a new customer. So this customer is an individual, is a man, Mr. Then let's say the name is Dele, okay? Then his surname should be like Oluwatosin. Okay, so let's assume this is his surname. Then the company name is not necessary, but how do you want the name to display? We can say, okay, Mr. Dele Oluwatosin, that is fine. Then you can put an email address, it's not necessary, phone number is not necessary, but the language of this guy is English, fine. Then, is this guy supposed to pay us tax? Yes. So let's say is the things that we sell to him, they are VAT-able. So we select 7.5%, right? So the next thing we want to do is we want to come over to the currency. Okay, is it in Nigerian? It's fine. But what if is not? What if is not in Nigeria? Let's say is what is it called? Is in Canada. So let's select Canada. So there are some customers that you might invoice them in multi-currency. So what Zoho Books does is Zoho Book has a limitation in that regard. So it means that once you invoice a customer, once you save a customer as someone you are invoicing in Canadian dollar, you cannot later change this thing and say, okay, I want to invoice him in Naira, provided that you've already done an invoice already. Zoho Book has already known that, okay, this customer is always invoiced in Canadian dollar. So you cannot say you have invoiced him Canadian dollar, but now you want to now invoice him in Naira and still say you want to select the same customer. No. What it means is that you need to now create this customer as many times as the currency you are going to invoice the customer. So whenever you're invoicing the customer in Naira, there will be the customer name in Naira, selecting currency as Naira. If you're invoicing the customer in pounds, you create another customer, the same customer, but this time around, you're going to select pounds, okay? So I think these are the drawbacks that I discovered, which they can still work on, right? Because I'm not sure for now you can select multi-currency for a customer. I'm not sure. For now, I'm not sure. Okay, so once you've selected that is Canadian dollar, the next thing you want to do, the payment term. Are you paying, is whatever thing you are sending to the customer, is the customer paying upfront, or do you allow the customer to owe you? So if you allow the customer to owe you, then you now say that, okay, maybe it's net 15, net 30, net 45, net 60, etc. Okay, depending on the agreement with the customer. So if you don't specify, automatically Zoho Books will assume that this customer is a cash customer. A cash customer is a customer that must pay you immediately. Immediately you sell to him, okay, or must pay you immediately. So it will just assume that this is a cash customer, okay. So that is that. So you want to know the agreement that you have with the customer in order to maybe to select what payment method is it going to be. Is it going to be cash, or is it going to owe you probably for 30 days or for 45 days or for 60 days? That is very important. Then over here, do you want to allow portal access for this customer? If you click on allow portal access for the customer, it means that the customer can also access his own portal from his own end, okay? So you might not want it, though there's going to be a lot of limitation in the sense that this customer may not be able to edit details, okay? But it can only view his transactions, okay? So in case he has any questions, any clarification, he doesn't need to actually wait for you. He can just go and open his own details on his own and see at a glance what transactions he has actually transacted with you all along. So I don't want to put it because I don't want any customer to have access to this information, okay? It's classified, okay? I just come over here, but once you put your email address, any invoice that you've created for the customer, you can always send it to the customer via email, okay? That is that. So that is the access that the customer has. So once you've done all these, just click on save, and automatically we have a new customer. And that customer's name is Mr. Dele. Mr. Dele. So now, from the next thing you want to do is, you can now go further to now do, let's now do a sales order to this customer. Okay, so now go to a, don't just go to invoices. No, let us not go through that route again. Once you want to do it, you can go through a sales order. So let's do a sales order quickly. Now, at the point you are raising a sales order, what happens? Now we have things, items that we sell to the customer. Those items, we actually created them as items, right? We created them as items. So when you are raising a sales order, automatically you are committing those items that you selected. The items that you selected, you are committing them to the sales, okay? So it doesn't mean that the item will reduce, but already you have committed them. So let me give us an example. Let's say you have 500 loaves of bread, okay? You have 600 cakes. Then you are raising a sales order to a customer. So now that customer is ordering for, let's say, 50 bread. Is also ordering for 150 cakes, right? So once you raise a sales order, automatically that's 50 bread that you've attached to the sales order, and that 150 cake that you've attached to the sales order will still be showing in your inventory because you've not sold it. Until you convert this thing to an invoice, that thing is still there. It's still showing that those items, you see have them, but it has been committed. It means that now, when you want to now sell any of those items, or you want to use all those items for invoices, that one that you've committed to this sales order, you will not be able to take it because it's already committed to this sales order, okay? So because we are trying to sell, if you are selling, item is leaving, right? Item is leaving us. So at what point does those items now leave us? The items are committed when you raise a sales order, but it doesn't mean that it will leave your store, or it doesn't mean that it will leave your accounting stock. No, they are just committed. So at what point does it now leave? At the point where you turn this sales order into an invoice. At that point, your accounting stock is going to reduce by that amount, meaning that, okay, you have sold it to the customer. A sales has occurred. Once an invoice has been raised, it means a sales has occurred. Whether the sales is a credit sales or it's a cash sales, a sales has occurred. So that is when your accounting stock will now reduce at the point when you turn this to an invoice. Now, I told us that we have two kind of store. We have two kind of stock. I mean to say, you have accounting stock. You also have physical stock. So physical stock is your warehouses and all those stuff. So you now discover that your physical stock, right, we reduce at the point when you ship this good, okay, when shipment is done. So let's try and see if we can access those things in this our invoice. So we just click on create sales order, okay. When we click on create sales order, let's see what happens. Yeah, so what is the customer that want to create for? Let's say the customer we created now, Dele Olua Tosin, sorry. So that is the name, that's the name of the customer. Okay, so it's asking us what is the billing address, what is the shipping address? Because we didn't create any address for this customer, it's asking us all those things. Fine. So now this is the first sales order we are creating, and automatically it has generated a number for us on its own. That is fine. Then we have the reference. If you like, you can put a reference. We have the sales order date, which is today's date, right? So the next thing I want to do is that expected shipment date. What date do you expect that this thing will be shipped to the customer? Okay, let's assume that we expect that it should be shipped on, let's say today is 11th, right? Let's say we expect that this thing should be shipped on the 19th. You can set it, you can select anything. Okay, let's assume that we expect that it should be shipped to the customer. Fine. Then what kind of payment terms did we agree with this guy? This Dele Oluwa. Oh, I didn't even spell this thing well. Oluwa Tosin. I didn't spell it well. Okay. So what payment terms? Is it due on receipt? That means that immediately you issue this receipt, this invoice, automatically the customer is owing you the money. Okay. But if you want the customer to owe you, you can always select when you want him to pay. Do you want him to pay net 30, net 50, net 45, net 60, and so on and so forth? So any one of them that you choose will determine the period the customer will pay. If you pick net 30, in the next 30 days, that is when the customer is expected to pay us. So that is fine. So let's not leave that like that. Then the delivery mode or the delivery method. Let's see if there's anyone attached. Okay, no one. So you can tell the delivery mode, select the delivery mode or type to add. So we can always type to add, but let's leave that. Okay, it's not compulsory. We can. So who is the salesperson that enabled us to execute these transaction? Maybe there's somebody who is called Moses on the transaction. That's fine. Then here, exchange rate now. So $1 Canadian is equal to, this will be set as the exchange rate for this date. So what is the exchange rate? How much is $1 Canadian to Naira this date? Let's assume the exchange rate or the spot rate for this date is actually, now don't forget that this customer we are creating is actually is in Canada. So we have to invoice him in Canada. So that is why, because we select that his currency is Canada, so it's asking us that anything that we have invoiced him, we have to be converted, okay, to Canada dollar. So let's now check. Let's say our exchange rate is actually 1,700. Just any information. So that is fine. They want to now select items that we need to sell to him. So the item we want to sell to him now. So let's say he's coming for inspection. He's coming to repair his vehicle with us, right? Because this industry is actually the automobile industry. So he's coming to, we've created all these items before. So you might not know that we've created this item before. So let's say that we want to do vehicle inspection and diagnosis for the guy. So I selected that vehicle inspection. and diagnosis. So automatically, this thing has been converted. It has been converted to Canadian dollar. How does it do that? With this exchange rate that we have over here, that we set here, that is what it used to convert this thing, because it's actually an amount in naira that we've already set here before. So there's actually an amount in naira. So let me cancel this. And so if you check now, when we are doing our vehicle inspection, we said the amount is actually 20,186 naira, 0.05. So that's what we have said. But because we have an exchange rate, and because we are sending this invoice to a client in Canada, it's not going to show naira equivalent. It's going to convert this thing to Canadian dollar. So when I select it, okay, automatically it's going to do the conversion, and then it channels that, okay, this is the amount the guy is to pay, 11.87415 Canadian dollar. That is fine. Let's select another item. Okay, apart from doing vehicle inspection, okay, apart from doing vehicle inspection, probably we need to like now buy spare parts for him. So the spare part we want to buy, that spare part, we need to put the rates, how much is the spare part. So let's say it is 5,000 Canadian dollar. Let's say it's 5,000 because we left this one blank. So let's say it's 5,000 Canadian dollar, it's fine. Then the next thing, apart from this vehicle inspection, apart from spare part we're buying, we also want to do wheel alignment and balancing for the guy. Okay, and that has a steady amount. Then the next thing we want to do is we also want to now do, let's say, vehicle detailing. Want to wash the vehicle. Probably it's going to be dirty, and that one also has a value. They want to also do, what else you want to do? Want to collect workshop income. Okay, so that workshop income, let's say we want to collect like $200, or sorry, 220 Canadian dollar from him. Oh, I'm not supposed to save yet. I'm not supposed to save yet, but let me go back. I'm not supposed to save yet. Let me go back. Let me see. So it's going to go. Let me go to our invoices. Sorry, or our sales order. I should see. Okay, so this is the last one I just created. Okay, so this is a draft. So let me just click on it to edit it. Yeah, so let me just edit it because I'm not done with it actually. So yeah, so the name, we have selected certain items, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, yeah, vehicle workshop income, we've selected it. Then you can decide to add more. You can decide to add more depending on you. At the end of the day, it's going to tell you how much is the subtotal, then how much is the VAT on it. Now, I remember that the last time I was teaching people, I said that here, always make sure that you are picking tax exclusive. Always make sure you are picking tax exclusive so that it can calculate these things separately. The subtotal will be calculated separately, and then the VAT on it, the VAT that you're going to charge as addition is going to be separated. Then everything together will not give you the total that the client is going to pay you. So this is the total amount you're invoicing to the client. So now you now come to the bottom. You now check. Over here, you can put a customer note if you like. Then you can put your terms and condition. Okay, so you can say, okay, any vehicle that is repaired and taken out of the workshop in good condition should not be returned. So you can do that, okay, just to put your terms and condition and order. At the end of the day, you can save it. So let's save it now. Let's save it now. So you can see that your sales order is exactly like the way you normally do your invoice, but there's a flow. There's a way things are being flowed. There's a way things are flowing now. So now, items that we selected, you are committing them to this sales order. Now, there's something that this accounting software enables you to do. Now, because we have, okay, so let me check. Yeah, so it tells us now to send the sales order, or you can also mark it as confirmed. So if you have an email address that's attached to the sales order to the customer, so that the customer will either tell you to go ahead. So once the customer, okay, fine, go ahead with it, they now mark it as confirmed. The sales order as confirmed. Once you mark the sales order as confirmed, so now I told us that this sales order now is supposed to take away items from us, because we are selling this sales order to we are selling this sales order, sorry, we are selling these goods that we've committed into this sales order to customer. Okay. So now there are two ways in which our inventory is going to reduce, because we've committed some inventory to this sales order. Now, number one is when we convert this to invoice. You can see where you can convert it to invoice, right? When you convert it to invoice, then your accounting stock will reduce. Okay. When you convert it to invoice, your accounting stock will reduce. Okay. So let's convert it to invoice, right? Let's convert it to invoice. So convert it to invoice, automatically your accounting stock has reduced that amount because a sales has been made. Whether he has paid us or he has not paid us doesn't matter. A sales has been made. Now, where does the physical stock now uses? Because in our own account, in our book, we assume that the customer has made commitments, and so we are trying to convert it by invoice now. So it's just going to ask us, can we go ahead? You just check. Can you still hear me? Can anybody hear me on the call?
Hearing you, sir.
Okay, fine. I just want to be sure. So now, once you convert it to an invoice, right? So you're going to see a lot of settings that you can check in case you want to do any adjustment. Can do that. So if you want to also put like shipping charge, probably when you deliver this stuff to the customer, how much will it take you to, deliver it to the customer? So you can put your shipping charge, because you are the ones shipping it to the customer. You can put it here if possible. Then your term and conditional. Full payment is due upon receipt of invoice unless otherwise agreed in writing. For special order and imported parts, a minimum of 70% deposit is required before procurement. Balance must be paid before delivery or vehicle release. So this is just an example of our terms and condition of agreement. So once this is okay, once you agree with this looks fine, right? You can go ahead to now save it as draft. But if you have received payment, you can come and click over here that I have received payment. So click over here, I've received payment. Then how did you receive payment? What payment mode did you use? Did he transfer to you, or did he pay cash? So let's say he paid by transfer, bank transfer. Then where did he deposit to? What account did he deposit to? Let's say he deposited to our Money Point, our Providence Bank, our Wema Bank, and so on and so forth. So these are the banks, Fidelity Bank. So let's just pick Fidelity Bank. Okay. So look at the amount that he actually deposited to the bank. So now, don't forget that this our Fidelity Bank. We didn't actually specify whether it's going to only warehouse Naira or it's going to warehouse dollar. I know that in this our Fidelity Bank, we've been having Naira transaction in them. For those people that remember when we were doing training, we've been having Naira transaction in them, but now we want to now save something in dollars to it. Okay, so now it's fine. Let's assume that this has been done. So fine, and it's actually accepting it. That means that there's no, it's not complaining that it's Naira that has been here. Probably it's going to now convert it now from this amount. It's going to convert it using the exchange rate that we set at that date, which is 1,700. It's going to convert it, and then we are going to get Naira equivalent in our account. So let's just click on save and let's see what happens. So it's saving. So now, as at the point when you are saving this to become an invoice, this is when your accounting stock will be reduced, because your accounting stock now is saying that you have made a sales, right? And that item that you selected in that sales does not belong to us any longer. It now belongs to the customer, okay? So it now belongs to the customer. So this is it, the invoice. It has been invoiced and it has been paid. So how much is due? Balance due is 0. So yeah, the balance due is 0. Then we are looking at, okay, so payment mode has been done. There's nothing remaining. Let's look at, okay, so they didn't do any postings at the bottom. So then the next one we want to do is this. We want to now come to the top. Okay, that is fine. We can actually, okay. Yeah, so they have paid, right? So let's go back to our sales order. Let's see what is going to happen from our sales order. Let's go back to our sales order. The sales order now is closed. That means we have received payment from the customer and it's fine. Now, let me click on it again. Okay, so this is our sales order. Our sales order has been converted to an invoice and it's closed. So it's assumed that at this point, because I said the customer has paid us, let's assume that Zoho Book also considered that this has been shipped, right? So automatically our, what's it called? Yeah, so automatically, let me click on shipment, let me see. To create shipment, package is needed. No packages / on ship package available. Do not show this again. Okay, that's fine. So that is fine. So yeah, due on receipt, closed, invoice paid, shipment is pending. So now this shipment now, once you ship, that is when this thing goes to the customer. So in order to be able to ship, is asking us to actually create a package, right? So tend to create package. So convert to purchase order. So in case we don't have these goods in store, we can easily convert the same sales order that we've done. We can convert it to a purchase order. So let's try and do that. So let's click on purchase order. You are converting the sales order into a purchase order. Do you want the item description in this sales order to be copied to the new purchase order? Yes. So let's see what happens. Okay, so now we still select the same customer, which is okay. Now this is a vendor. Now who is supplying us? Is vendor that is supplying us. So let's select a vendor that is supplying us. Then delivery address. Now, so here we can actually do what we call drop shipping, right? So drop shipping is a situation whereby you already create a sales order, right? Now, that sales order, you don't have those goods. You don't want to sell to the customer from your warehouse. So, but you want to like just take that sales order and sell and go to the vendor, get those goods and ship it to the customer. So in that kind of situation, when you want to do drop shipment, instead of selecting your own organization, okay, which is going to be like your warehouse, you can go on to select the customer, okay? So it's going to ask you to select a customer in case. So let's say that I want to select a customer. So this is a customer actually. So this is a customer, fine. Then let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so you need to have a shipping address. You need to have so you can add a new address and all that. So you can also, yeah, so shipping address and all that. So once you've done that, that is when you don't want they to deliver to your organization. Let's want them to deliver to our organization. Okay, let's select our own organization. which is likely to be our warehouse. Okay, so we now say, okay, when and what is the date that we are raising this purchase order? Is today's date. When do we expect it to be delivered? So we can also say, okay, want it to be delivered maybe on the 14th. Okay, we expect it to be delivered on the 14th. You now put your shipment preference, which we don't have yet. Payment terms, net 30, fine. So net 30 is fine. Then we now, so everything that we selected in our invoice before, everything is going to be here, right? Everything is going to be here, and then everything is going to be here. So look at what it cost us. This is what it cost us, right? Obviously, we are going to make certain gains from it. So now this is what it cost us. We can decide to take away VAT from it in case the customer doesn't charge us VAT. Yeah, so we can decide to take away VAT from it and all that, so that we don't have issues of input versus output VAT. So let's assume we allow VAT, right? So we're going to be having input and output VAT. So at the end of the day, we now check, is it okay? Is it okay? We can say, okay, yes, save as draft. So once you save your purchase order as a draft, then you have two options. The first option is you can send this purchase order to your vendor. Don't forget that purchase order is always sent to the vendor. So you can send this purchase order to your vendor, or you can mark it as issued. So let's say we have marked it as issued. Now, the next thing you want to do is this. You want to, if you receive these goods that you ordered for will now appear in your warehouse. So let's receive it. We'll receive the goods. So once you receive the good is going to appear in your warehouse. So purchase, receive. So let me see. You can also select or scan the item to be included from the purchase order. Select or scan item. Let's see whether we want to select. Okay, let me know. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's add it manually, right? Let's add it manually. Spare part. Let's say the spare part we ordered for one. So let's say we received also. So continue to receive one. So let's say we also received one over here. So okay, one. I'm not sure it's going to allow us to edit. Okay, so fine. So let's come over here now. Purchase, receive. I think we need a code here. Okay. Let me check. Click here to enable or disable auto generates to purchase receive number. So let's click here. Yeah, so continue auto generate, enter purchase receive number manually. So let's do auto generate and it's fine. So enter purchase receive number manually. No, I think this is good. Then we'll just go on to click on save. Okay, automatically it's going to be generating purchase received numbers. Okay, so this is the first one is going to receive. Then here, how many order did we ordered for one and we received one? Fine. Then you can add a note and order. Then you can now save as received. If you save it as received, once you save it as received, this will now be reflecting in your physical stock. Your physical stock is going to increase by this value. Okay, your physical stock is going to increase by this value. Now, once you have done that, your physical stock has increased. However, your accounting stock has not increased. So to make your accounting stock increase, you have to convert it to a bill. So you need to convert it to a bill. So now this is the new bill. You need to convert it to a bill. Everything is fine in it. Fine. Everything is okay. And you can go on to actually, you can go on to now save as open. Please enter a bill number. So we want to see where is that place. Okay. Okay, so let's say let's just put a number here. Okay, so that is fine. Then, yeah, how many quantity do you save? You saved one. That is fine. The rate is that fine. Then just go on to save as open. Okay, so once you receive it, your accounting stock has been increased by that value. Okay, then the next thing is to now pay your is to now pay, what is it called? So we have opened the bill. So do you want to pay the bill? When you pay the bill, that is when your accounting stock will also increase by that amount that you've paid. So let's record the payment. So right, how do we pay? We are paying it by check or by credit card, anyone. We can also add a payment mode. Then bank charges, if there is any. Is there any tax deducted as source? So for most times, when withholding tax is deducted, you are going to select this deduct tax deducted as source. So when you deduct withholding tax from your vendor, you can just tick this list. Once you tick it, it's going to tell you the amount you want to withhold. Okay, then what account do you want this tax withhold to go to? So you can always select the account that you want it to go into, which is most likely your withholding tax account. So this is your withholding tax payable. So since you are withholding it from him, then you are the one that's going to pay. So you just select your withholding tax payable and put the amount that you want to withhold from this money. Okay, so that is that. So you can take it off since we are not withholding any money. Fine. Then what is the date? Payment number is 1. Then pay through. Where are we paying it through? Are we paying it through? Let's pay it to our Fidelity. Fine. Then what is the date payment was made? Is made today as well. Okay. The reference number is not necessary. Then at the end of the day, you can save it as paid. So save as paid. So once you save it as paid, automatically the bill has been settled. Now, what is the balance you're owing? Nothing. Everything has been cleared. So that is that. So when you are doing a sales order, right? From your sales order, in case you don't have those stock in your warehouse, right? So for your sales order, it will also tell you to now convert your sales order to a purchase order. So those items that you selected that you want to sell to the customer, you can easily go and procure them from the vendor so that you now take it to your warehouse, and then from your warehouse, the customer now comes to pick it. So why not do much tonight because time is against us, but tomorrow we are going to come down and do more about it because there's a lot of things that, so those people that feel that they've actually know, what's it called, that they already know all these things that we're doing, you discover that there's a lot that you don't know. So that is that. So I'm going to stop the class for tonight. I'm going to stop the class for tonight so that we can rest. Tomorrow is Sunday and we need to go to church. So any question before we go? Any question at all? Does anybody have any question? So don't worry. Tonight it can be looking somehow. Okay, you might not get it fully now, but don't worry. We're going to do a lot tomorrow. Okay, which is Sunday, and whoever also has a Zoho book account, you can also go and open your Zoho book. Then at the point where you want to log in, you also see where you can access the Zoho inventory. So click on the Zoho inventory. That Zoho inventory gives you a lot of room to do a lot that your Zoho book does not give you access to. So, but when you now pay for this Zoho inventory, when you pay subscription for it, we now discover that there are even other things that will also show. just like you have your items. This one is not giving us room to create composite items. It's not giving us room to do a lot of things that we ought to do. Okay, it's not giving us room to do a lot of things because this is like a free version. But with this free version, we can actually learn a lot of things of purchase order, our receipt payment, pay payment, whatever we want to do. We can also do sales order. We can do a lot. So we are going to look at it. We are going to look at it tomorrow. And we are also going to do a lot. There are lots that we're going to do. If you also check the last lecture that we had, I also did a recap on everything that you need to look out for when it comes to Zoho Inventory. Okay, so it's very interesting, and I believe that we are all going to learn. Don't worry, in case you're not grabbing anything now, don't worry. When we meet tomorrow, we do more so that you can know more. Thank you, everybody. Any other question? Any question at all? Mr. Olusam.
No question from my own hand, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.